Let's get started with our first news. Kaio Baralio speaks out following Carlos Prates' tough loss. After Carlos Prates lost to Ian Gary last night, the Fighting Nerd's impressive undefeated streak has now officially been broken. It was a moment many fans didn't see coming, as Prates had built a lot of momentum leading up to the fight. Following the defeat, Kaio Baralio took to his Instagram story to share a heartfelt and motivating message. He made it clear that although the loss stings, it's not the end of the road for Carlos. In fact, it's just another chapter in a much bigger story. Kaio started off by saying, "What's up guys, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the love that you guys come to our team, and to everybody, to Carlos and everybody. Carlos is good." He emphasized how much the team appreciated the overwhelming support from fans and the MMA community. Despite the loss, Kaio made it clear that Carlos's spirit remains strong and that true growth often comes from moments like these. "We take this loss as a man, and we know that we always grow after a hard loss like that," he said, reminding everyone that adversity often brings out the best in great fighters. Kaio continued with powerful optimism, saying, "I think we're going to go back. We're going to do what he does best, that he studied this game, and we're going to come back better." His words carried a lot of weight, showing just how much belief the team has in Carlos's ability to bounce back. It wasn't just about the loss, it was about the journey, the lessons, and the relentless pursuit of greatness. "I think Carlos is going to come back stronger, way better than he was today," he added confidently. In a show of true sportsmanship, Kaio also gave credit where it was due. "But congrats to Ian, congrats to Shoot Box, maximum respect for you guys." Even in defeat, he made sure to honor the opponents for their performance and hard work, setting an example of class and respect that young fighters can look up to. Before ending his message, Kaio turned his focus back to the fans and supporters. "I'm just going to pay attention for you guys that show love always for our team and to everybody in our team." He made it clear that their journey is far from over. "We are changing the game. We are taking over. The takeover continues. And it's just a setback. We will be back soon. I'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much." In the world of combat sports, setbacks are inevitable. But what defines a fighter is how they respond. And judging by Kaio Baralio's words, Carlos Prates is already on the path toward a stronger, better comeback. Stay tuned because the Fighting Nerds are just getting started. Moving on to our second news story, Israel Adesanya has responded to Gene Silva's call out. After Gene Silva's big win over Bryce Mitchell, things heated up online, and Silva made sure everyone knew exactly how he felt. Silva posted a clip on his Instagram where he called out all the fighters who had picked Bryce Mitchell to beat him. As you guys know by now, Silva didn't just beat Bryce, he submitted him, making a loud statement inside the octagon. Silva didn't hold back in his message. He wrote, "While they were running their mouths, I was sharpening my game. Now they just sit and watch." Powerful words coming from a fighter who many had underestimated leading into the matchup. It's clear Silva took all that pre-fight talk personally, and he made sure to silence the doubters in the best way possible by getting the job done in the cage. Silva went on to call out how fans and even fighters often treat MMA like it's WWE. He pointed out how people try to label fighters as the good guy, the bad guy, the heel, and then make their picks based on those narratives. He mocked the way people casually chose against him, saying things like, "I'm going to go Bryce, I'm going to go Bryce because of the experience," and "I'm going to pick Bryce Mitchell gets it done by decision," or "Bryce Mitchell is going to belt to him and take him down." But Gene Silva proved everyone wrong. He showed that preparation, hard work, and belief can outweigh public opinion, predictions, and experience. He showed up sharp, focused, and ready, and the results spoke for itself. And then, one of the biggest names in the fight game jumped into the conversation. Israel Adesanya himself decided to respond to Silva in the comments, and in typical Adesanya style, he kept it short but powerful. He wrote, "LOL, I love receipts." That simple comment from Adesanya says a lot. Fighters like Adesanya understand what it feels like to be doubted, to be underestimated, to have people talk behind their backs before a big fight. Adesanya's comment is an acknowledgement of Silva's triumph, and a reminder that every receipt gets cashed in eventually. Moments like these showed just how emotional and personal the fight game can be. It's not just about physical skill inside the cage, it's also about mindset, heart, and how you deal with the noise around you. John Silva heard it all, took it in, stayed silent when it mattered, and then spoke the loudest when the lights were on. And now, with Israel Adesanya showing him some love, Silva's stock is only going up from here. That's gonna wrap it up for this news story. Gene Silva is definitely a name to keep your eye on moving forward, and judging by the way things are going, this is just the beginning for him. Moving on to another piece of news. Tom Aspenol has revealed some truly sad and concerning updates regarding his health, and this is a bit of an exclusive to the channel. It's something most professional athletes, especially fighters, don't usually like to talk about. Injuries, illnesses, anything that could be seen as a weakness. They prefer to keep it private, but Tom decided it was important to open up and share what's really been going on behind the scenes. Tom explained that this year he has actually been ill more times than he's ever been in his entire life. And we're only in April. That's a pretty alarming statement when you think about the level of health and physical condition elite fighters like Aspenol usually maintain. He revealed that he caught a virus before Christmas, and since then he's been battling with it on and off for months. He's had to go through multiple courses of antibiotics, but the issues kept coming back. It got so serious that it pushed him to take a much deeper medical look into his body and overall health. Tom shared that he's been picking up viruses far more often than he normally would. Typically, he would maybe get sick once a year, just a minor cold or something simple, but this time it's been completely different. He described being seriously ill, even bedbound several times, and it hasn't just been viruses. Tom revealed that he's been dealing with ringworm infections multiple times, along with other minor skin infections, issues that usually pop up when your immune system is severely weakened. On top of that, he's battled sinusitis, strep throat, fevers, body aches, basically flu-like symptoms, and this has been going on non-stop for about 4 months now. Hearing this makes you realize just how tough things have been for Tom Aspenol. For a heavyweight fighter, someone at the top of the game, battling these kinds of health issues in the background without the world knowing, it takes a massive toll not just physically, but mentally too. Tom reflected on the situation, saying that even though he hasn't been active in the cage recently, looking back, it's probably a blessing in disguise, because he simply hasn't been functioning at 100% for a long time, and pushing through could have made things even worse. It's a hard situation to be in. Fighters are built to push through pain, but sometimes your body simply forces you to stop. Tom's honesty here is important. It's a reminder that athletes are human beings too. They deal with health battles, doubts, setbacks, things we often don't see from the outside. We're all wishing Tom Aspenol a full recovery and hope to see him back to full strength very soon. Health always comes first, and when Tom does come back, you can bet he'll be more motivated than ever to show the world what he's truly capable of. Moving on to another big piece of news, Dana White has made some major updates regarding upcoming UFC fights, and fans have a lot to be excited about. First off, Dana confirmed that Dricus Du Plessis will be defending his middleweight title against Khamzat Chimaev next. Yes, the fight that so many fans have been talking about is officially on. It's not happening during International Fight Week as some rumors suggested, but according to Dana, the fight is done. It's just scheduled for a later date. At the same time, Dana also gave an important update on the long-anticipated heavyweight showdown between Jon Jones and Tom Aspenol. When asked if he was still confident that fight would happen, Dana didn't hesitate. He made it clear he's still super confident that Jon Jones versus Tom Aspenol will eventually take place. Fans have been buzzing about this potential matchup, especially with Aspenol's recent rise and Jones's legendary status. Even though there's no official date yet, Dana made it clear that both fighters are still targeted for that massive fight, and behind the scenes, they are working to make it a reality. There was also talk about other rumored fights. For example, rumors started swirling that Ilia Topuria could face Islam Makhachev. When pressed on that, Dana kept it simple. He said, "We'll see." He emphasized that until the UFC announces something officially, fans should treat all these rumors as nothing more than noise. Dana's exact words were, "Everything you hear is bull until we say it." A good reminder that in the fight game, nothing is real until Dana White makes it official. But that's not all. Dana also dropped some very interesting news about changes to the UFC's ranking system. In a pretty big move, the UFC will now have 2 sets of rankings moving forward, one based on AI and one based on human voting. That's right, artificial intelligence is making its way into the UFC rankings. When asked if the UFC would lean more heavily heavily on the AI rankings for official graphics and promotion, Dana was pretty clear about his expectations. He said, "Listen, I'm not delusional and think that the AI thing is going to solve all the problems. That's why we're going to have two sets of rankings, AI and human. We gotta see how it goes. This is going to be fascinating to watch unfold. Using AI could bring a new level of objectivity to the rankings, eliminating some of the human biases we've seen over the years. But Dana knows the AI system won't be perfect right away, which is why they're keeping the traditional human rankings alongside it, at least for now. In short, the UFC is cooking up some big fights and bold new changes. Dricus vs Khamzat is on. John Jones versus Tom Aspenol is still very much alive. And the UFC rankings, well, they're about to enter the future. Ilia Topuria has found himself in the middle of more controversy. This time, it's with none other than Movsar Evloev. For weeks, there had been quiet whispers around the MMA world, suggesting that the two rising stars had some kind of altercation. Fans were left speculating, but nothing concrete ever came out, until now. Finally, Movsar Evloev has broken his silence and he's not holding back. In a recent interview with Sport24 in Russia, Movsar, who is usually known for being respectful and reserved, let his true feelings be known. When asked directly about the situation with Ilia Topuria, Movsar dropped the politeness and went straight to the point. He openly criticized Topuria for what he called stupid actions and labeled Topuria's antics as nothing but gimmicks. Clearly fed up with what he sees as fake drama and unnecessary behavior, Movsar made it very clear that he's had enough. There was no dancing around the issue. Movsar sees Topuria's behavior as completely unprofessional and disrespectful, especially at this stage of their careers when millions are watching. He emphasized that every fighter deserves respect inside and outside the octagon, but according to Movsar, Topuria just can't help but stir up trouble everywhere he goes. Movsar didn't mince words. He said Topuria acts foolishly, not because he personally dislikes Movsar, but because, in his words, he's not the brightest. But Movsar isn't just talking. He's made it clear that he is ready to back up his words with action. He even said he would be willing to move up to lightweight if that's what it takes to face Topuria. Whether Ilia wins or loses his upcoming fight against Islam Makhachev, Movsar's mission is personal. It's no longer just about rankings or title shots. Movsar wants to face Topuria inside the octagon and settle their differences the hard way. A potential Georgia versus Ingushetia showdown would be absolutely massive, not just because of their national pride, but because of how personal this rivalry has become. Fans are already buzzing about what would happen if these two were to finally meet inside the cage. Would Movsar's relentless grappling heavy style pose a serious threat to Topuria's striking and explosive power? That's a debate that will surely continue to heat up. When asked further about the previous encounters between the two, Movsar explained that Topuria had run his mouth multiple times, saying things that crossed the line. He doesn't believe the disrespect comes from real hate. Rather, he believes Topuria seeks attention and drama for hype. Still, Movsar made it clear he's not taking it personally, but he also won't forget it. Asked if he would consider shaking Ilia's hand if they meet, Movsar answered with complete honesty. He said he would only shake hands if Topuria offered first, because in Movsar's eyes, it's Ilia who disrespected him first, and it's on him to make things right. This rivalry is far from over, and when they do meet, expect fireworks. Moving on to another major update, UFC 317 is shaping up to be absolutely massive, but not exactly how fans originally expected. There has been a lot of buzz surrounding International Fight Week and the potential headliners, but now we have more clarity and a few surprises. Originally, a lot of people thought that John Jones versus Tom Aspenol could be the centerpiece of UFC 317. However, it has now been confirmed that if Jones versus Aspenol does happen, it won't be at International Fight Week. That fight will have to wait for another date. On top of that, Khamzat Chimaev versus Dricus Du Plessis was another fight that had fans speculating. It seemed like a strong candidate to headline the event, but Dana White just confirmed that while Chimaev versus Du Plessis is definitely happening, it will not be the main event for UFC 317 either. So that leaves one big glaring option left, Ilia Topuria. The big question now is, who will Ilia Topuria face? Will it be Islam Makhachev in a champion versus champion super fight? Or will it be Charles Oliveira, one of the most beloved and dangerous lightweights in UFC history? Either way, the UFC is making moves to ensure that International Fight Week delivers one of the most electric cards of the year. For context, the UFC always aims to make International Fight Week a blockbuster event. It's their version of the Super Bowl. They stack the deck with the biggest fights, the brightest stars, and unforgettable moments. And while a Topuria versus Oliveira fight would certainly be huge, it's obvious that Topuria versus Islam would be even bigger. A true champion versus champion matchup. It would be the kind of super fight that headlines a monster card all by itself, even without much additional help. However, if it does end up being Topuria versus Charles Oliveira, you can still expect the UFC to pull out all the stops. They would likely stack the card with major star power. Think Israel Adesanya possibly facing Sean Strickland in a rematch, plus a series of high-stakes, action-packed fights to ensure the card delivers fireworks for fans around the world. Adding to the intrigue, Chael Sonnen weighed in on the situation and gave some insight. Sonnen said, "Dricus Du Plessis, who is healthy, happy, and willing and just informed us as much, is not needed. I only share for you that it feels from our seat that that's where they're at for International Fight Week. It feels like they already have something." Chael then teased even more possibilities by mentioning some unexpected rumors floating around. He said, "I'm told Justin Gaethje is going to be fighting Islam. That's what I'm told." Chael admitted he found that hard to believe, but pointed out that Ali Abdelaziz, Islam's manager, is capable of pulling off the impossible. Finally, Sonnen pointed out something curious. Ilia is said to be fighting for a title, not the title. This word choice suggests some interesting possibilities, especially with two belts currently floating in the lightweight and featherweight divisions. Whatever the UFC is cooking up, UFC 317 is about to be unforgettable.